Hey everyone, so it's almost spring it feels like, so I thought I'd pop out and get a few steps in before I sit down and do a monthly haul video. So yeah, just a really nice morning, a little bit overcast today. Yesterday was really sunny, but yeah, really nice. Thought I'd just pop out, stretch my legs, and then we'll go back, stick the kettle on, have a cup of tea, and go through this month's haul. Catch you soon. Okay, so if you saw my video where I did a Blu-ray haul, Blu-ray hunt video, sorry, where I did a Blu-ray hunt video, then I did say I would sort of recap those briefly, I think, at the end of the month haul. So yeah, I won't spend too long on those because a lot of you guys probably would have seen those pickups. So I'll start with those first. I'll quickly skim through those, just give you my thoughts if I hadn't already seen them, if I've seen them now, and then yeah, we'll crack on with the rest of the stuff that I picked up throughout the month. So the titles I picked up on the video that you guys would have already seen would have been The Monkey from CEX, obviously at £6. When I picked this one up, I did say, you know, I'd seen it once and I wasn't thrilled with it. I did rewatch it. Slightly better, maybe slightly better, but just still like an average for me movie. I think it's just too CGI heavy, like with the kills and stuff. So when there's a scene where someone jumps into an electrified swimming pool basically, and they just kind of like, they just turn into a CGI ball of like splatter, which is fine. I'm just more of a practical effects kind of guy. Now this is the only one out of these 4 or 5 I picked up that I still haven't yet seen. So this is Vortex. This is a film by Gaspar Noé. So I want to go back and finish it. I just haven't got around to it yet because it's definitely one you need to be in the right mood and mindset for. The next one was one you again would have already seen, which is Baby Teeth. Baby Teeth, yeah, or I had already seen this one, so I wasn't going to rewatch it straight away, but I wanted to get in the collection for $4.99. I did recommend this one to a few people I think out there, and they said it looks interesting. So yeah, enjoy that one. I picked up Mimic 2, so yeah, quite like Mimic, the first Mimic. Mimic 2 I've seen before, and again, it wasn't that bad. This one, as I said, this one's just one to sit down with a family. I don't mind this one, the Minecraft movie. I'm not a massive gamer or like a player of Minecraft, to be fair, but the movie was fun enough for me just to sit down with my family and watch. Juror number 2, so Juror number 2 I picked up, as again, you guys would have seen this already if you've already watched that video. Yeah, I thought it was enjoyable, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know about the rewatch value though, that's the only thing for me. I did enjoy it, but I just don't know how much rewatch it's got for me. Probably some, but it wouldn't be one that I'd probably put on the shelves there. Yeah, there. Which I could just chuck on any time. I have to be in a certain mood for this one, so if anything, it'll either get put in those sort of like archive drawers I've got going on, or even possibly moved on. Not a bad film, but just not one I go back to a lot. And then Karate Kid Legends, probably the ones that I had the most apprehension for. I did a long review on this on my letterbox, so I don't normally do it. I normally just put like, you know, a few sentences or nothing at all. But this one started off really strong. I appreciated the callback to the first trilogy. So like I think it was the second movie maybe they did a clip from, like a direct clip started off the movie, and I thought we're in good hands here. They're respecting the first ones. It was okay. That was the thing, and this is where it falls into that annoying category of like, it was okay. It wasn't good and it wasn't terrible. It just fits in the middle, which is such an annoying category to fall into. I'd rather it be terrible and I can just get rid of it. But it was just okay. It started off quite strong. It gradually got weaker as it went along for me personally. Like the fight scenes were pretty good. You could see Jackie Chan had a bit of influence over some of the fight choreography in there, I would imagine, based on some of the sort of humour that was embedded in some of them fights. The main kid in this actually really good, so I enjoyed him. I think he did a really good job. I just think it was a bit too convoluted. It kind of like it introduced so many different characters and didn't feel like it really went too far with any of them. It just kind of like introduced them, started a little kind of mini storyline with them, and then didn't really do a lot with them for me. Obviously, it got in there the original Karate Kid, which I did appreciate. Jackie Chan's, I liked how they mixed the two, like how they combined the two movie sort of series together. I thought that was quite good. But the thing that bugged me the most probably was as it got towards the end, it just relied more and more on quick, modern edit, cuts, swipes, sound effects, CGI, kind of like round 1, round 2 when they were fighting, flashing up on your screen, and that just really started to grate, to be fair. So like the original ones, what I liked about them so much is like they were so natural, so like it's hard to explain. If you're a fan of the originals, you'll probably understand where I'm going with this. They're quite natural. They're like, you know, there's no CGI special effects that didn't really exist in those days to like tell people what round fights they were. They had it up on the boards in the movie. It was all part of the film. Whereas this was trying to plaster over the top of the film just too much kind of CGI graphics, too much like explaining what it's doing. That's what let it down for me. And by the end, I just didn't care. Really didn't care by the end, so I was sitting there half watching the final fight, and the first Karate Kid, when he's in that final fight, I was glued, my eyes were on that screen, and I was like, everything was riding on this fight. But this one, it built up to this fight and I couldn't give a toss. That was it. I think that was sort of halfly quick fire, 7 minutes, 6 minutes that's probably taken me, but that was a quick catch up on the ones that I picked up and my sort of like quick thoughts on those. So yep, I'll move on now to the stuff that everyone hasn't seen. I've got basically a few I picked up. I had literally, I think, 2 orders I got off Amazon this month. I've got a small little amount of titles off of eBay. And then I've got a stack of CEX titles. So I had a week off basically in this month, so which is kind of good and kind of bad. It meant I could do a few more videos obviously on the channel, but it also meant I had time to go through the collection, start clearing some bits out, trade it in for credit, pick up some more stuff to check out and see if I enjoy. So yeah, and I've also got the import haul that was basically at the tail end of January, I think it was, I put that through, but it was coming from Australia, so that one took about 2 weeks, and now it's arrived. Technically that was kind of part of January, I guess. I just didn't have it here to show at the time. Hope that kind of makes sense. Let's crack on. So the first couple of things I picked up off of Amazon, they were actually 2 imports and 1 UK one. So the first one I picked up was a Troma release, is a box set, and it is the Sexy Box. So this one has the movies Waitress, The First Turn On, and Stuck on You. Not to be confused with the Stuck on You from the early 2000s. That was a like comedy, Farley Brothers type comedy, I think. Yeah, so this one, I quite like Troma. Like they're a weird thing to like. Some things are stronger than others, obviously. I quite like teen comedies, and this seemed to be kind of like mixing the two. So I thought I'd go for it and have a look. These do come out on individual kind of cases. So you've got Stuck on You. A little bit risky there on the cover. First Turn On, and we've got Waitress. So yeah, I watched all these in order pretty much, I think, so in release order as far as I'm aware. So Waitress I watched, it was fine. I'd never go back to it, to be fair. This one was like just lots of little kind of tiny skits like stitched together. I then watched The First Turn On, probably my favourite of the 3 out of these, but it still wasn't amazing. It was just like a pretty good like teen comedy. You'd have to be into teen comedies and the Troma kind of like style of doing teen comedies or comedy in general. And then Stuck on You, which I'll be honest, I can't even remember. It was that like less impressive. I couldn't tell you a thing about it. So 1 out of 3 on that. So I don't know. I'll probably either sell the box set on later on, or I will keep the Stuck on You and maybe sell the other 2 separately later on. I don't know. But yeah, that was the first thing I picked up on Amazon. Next thing I picked up on Amazon was a movie that I had on DVD way back in the day and I really enjoyed, but I haven't gone back to in a long time. Now this has got John, I'm going to butcher this name, John Krasinski. you'll know when you see the cover. It's a Sam Mendes film, so it looks brilliant, and the soundtrack in this is just perfect for me. This is like my kind of music, very chilled out, very kind of like laid back, kind of acoustic music, and that is a movie called Away We Go. So yeah, I had this on DVD. I always used to get this one confused with another one, Junebug. So this one and Junebug I watched at a similar time, way back when they came out, and I always muddled them up which one was which. So yeah, but I watched this again, and this was actually really good. I enjoyed this. I think I give it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Not going to be for everyone, obviously. You have to be into these kind of like indie dramas, as old Sammy G would be saying. But yeah, I'm sure he's checked this one out already, so I wouldn't really recommend it to Sammy because I'm pretty sure he's already seen it. Basically, this couple are having a baby, they're expecting, and pretty quickly into the movie they realise that I think it's his mum and dad, who were going to help with the childcare and stuff when the baby came along, have just decided to up sticks and leaves at the same time and go to I think another state or another country, maybe even another country I think it was. So their child support basically network has just disappeared before they've even had the baby, and it's kind of like a road trip movie from that point. They're kind of going around finding old friends and family from different states across America, and just kind of like hanging out with them for a while. Just a chilled out kind of like weirdly, I don't know how to describe, relaxing sort of movie about this couple just trying to find their way in starting a family and starting life. Probably enjoyed it more now in my age than I did when I was a teenager because I can relate to it a bit more. But yeah, enjoyed that one. Highly recommend it if you like sort of like indie dramas from the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And the last one I picked up was a movie that I'd never seen from the 80s. It's a Steve Martin film, and it's called Parenthood. So it's just one of those ones I've missed. I knew of it, I just hadn't seen it. I think I bought this on Amazon at the time. It was $5.99, and when I checked on CX, I think they were trying to sell it for about $12.99 or $14.99, something stupid. So I thought I'm going to check it out. I think I literally would get more trade-in for it if I wanted to trade it in, if I didn't get on with it through CX, than what I paid for it. So it was worth a punt. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. The thing with this is there was no real nostalgia attachment to this for me because I didn't catch it growing up. It was fine. It was quite funny. I really enjoyed the cast. You've got Rick Moranis in this. I always love seeing Rick Moranis in anything. You've got young Keanu Reeves in there. Yeah, so you got some good cast members in there. Obviously Steve Martin as well. It was fine. It was funny. Again, I just don't know how many times I'll go back to it. So it'll either go in the archives or it'll get passed on. Cool. So that was my Amazon sort of pickups for the month. Then I'll do a special mention. So I had in my sort of video where I went out and about in Colchester to try and do a Blu-ray hunt. I did mention I popped into HMV to try and find a title on 2 for $15 offer they had going, but they hadn't got it sold out. My good pal Tim Cole, Tim's movie Waffle, I always messed it up, I don't know why. So sorry mate, he basically got in touch with me afterwards and just said, what were you after? Because I might have it in mind. Genuinely nice fellow, he always is. I just said, look, this is the one I was after, don't worry about it, but if you do see it, let me know and I'll send you over the money. And sure enough, he went out and found a copy of Baby Blood. So yeah, Tim's probably single-handedly trying to like distribute this film across the UK. I think he's recommended it to everyone. And so far, everyone's been picking it up that he's recommended it to. Pretty sure Roy over at Blu-ray Movies has picked this up. I know I've obviously got it. I think 2 or 3 other people in the sort of community have picked this up based on his opinion or his recommendation. French movie. I really enjoyed this. This was good. I think I rated this about 3.5 stars. It was really interestingly shot. There was some kind of like quite interesting storyline to it. I know Tim's probably kind of like explained this probably loads of times over the time over his videos, and probably so has Roy and anyone else. So I won't spend too long on it myself. But it was really interesting. Really glad I picked it up. It will be one I keep in the collection. It was sort of like had quite a bit of gore and sort of horror elements in there that kept it interesting enough for me. But yeah, the quick story, in case no one's seen it or seen any of the other videos that have already spoke about it, it's basically this woman who is working or is a wife of one of the guys that runs this circus. So this does have like a lot of real animals in it. So if that triggers you, then probably don't check this out because it will have like caged animals in here from circus back in the day when they used to do that. One of these leopards is basically gets a POV shot from this leopard who we don't know at the time, but he maybe has something wrong with him. And then one day he explodes in his cage. You don't see it, you just see the aftermath of all the goo. And I think then this, whatever was in him, this parasite thing that was in him, manages to escape and finds his way to this lady on the cover. Enters her, I won't say how, I think Roy did a good job in saying how, enters this lady and basically becomes a Venom-like character, so you can hear the voice of this thing, but his voice is kind of like high-pitched French and squeaky, so it's sort of funny. I was laughing along quite a lot of the way, and I don't know if I was meant to, but I was laughing at quite a few things in this thing. So this thing is basically now inside her. She's the only one who can hear it. It's then telling her to do stuff like go get people, go do this to people. I need the blood of these people. Feed me, sort of thing. Basically, this blood, and it just sounds mental, which is it is, but it's so enjoyable at the same time. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So this woman basically has to try and fight against it, but also it's got control over because it's inside her and it's a battle. And yeah, I just check it out if anything there sounds pretty good. So thank you for Tim, thank you for that. Sorry, mate, I don't know if I said thank you, but I really appreciate you doing that. So the next lot I picked up here, these are a few I picked up off of eBay. I think these were all eBay. So this is an M. Night film, and this is Trap, so I have seen this one. I didn't mind it. I like what I like about M. Night is, obviously his original trilogy probably are the best, and I don't think many people would dispute that. But what I appreciate about everything he's done since then, love it or hate it, it's generally been original. Like, he's normally picked a story that I've not seen before, and I haven't really seen this story before. Yes, it's a bit of a sellout to just advertise his daughter, who's a singer in real life, but I quite liked it, and I did guess what I presumed was meant to be the twist right at the start. He didn't do a massively good job at hiding that twist, maybe he wasn't meant to, and it does take a really bizarre turn, I think, sort of like in the halfway point or the sort of 2/3 in point, where it gets a bit far-fetched and a bit like, I don't know, a bit not M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know why, but for what it is, I enjoyed it. I will go back to it. It's got enough in there for me to go back to, and it's sort of horror based, I would say. So sort of, I would stick with this. I keep this in the collection. I enjoyed it enough. I think that was about £5. Now this one here was one that I used to have on DVD, and I watched a lot as a kid, and I'd kind of half forgotten about it. And it also, I think it came out at the same time as another film from Disney, which probably didn't help matters, but this is DreamWorks' Ants. I used to really enjoy this as a kid, and I have not seen it since I was probably early teens. And I rewatched this. I pulled down my sort of projector system, put this on, watched it with my little one, and I really enjoyed it now. Like, this is actually really good. I did think, like, as much as people say, like, remakes aren't needed a lot of the time, I did wonder how, if DreamWorks were ever to do a remake of anything, whether it's time to do a remake of this with the much more modern animation skills that they've got now. Really enjoyed it anyway, so really good story. I mean, to be fair, some of the animation in here, even though it's so old now and it looks very basic like on the cover, some of the animation was still surprisingly good. Like, there's a scene where he's in a water droplet, and it just looked fantastic, I thought, for the age. When you look back at it and you think, oh, how old that is and what we're getting nowadays, a lot of these scenes still held up pretty well. It does look quite tired, it does look quite aged in a lot of the other scenes, but because I have that nostalgia attachment for it, more than happy to keep this in the collection, and I will go back to this one on a few occasions. So on a similar thing there, but we're in a much darker theme and plot, definitely not a kids film, this one. This is one that I had on DVD, one of the very, very first DVDs I probably picked up. Didn't know anything about it back then. I just remember picking it up, probably based on the cover, and I just thought I'll give it a try. And I watched it a few times as a sort of pre-teen or going into my early teens, and I'll be honest, I guarantee I didn't understand it. And that is a movie with Hilary Swank and Peter Skarsgård called Boys Don't Cry. So again, not one I've ever seen on the UK market as a Blu-ray edition. So I saw this come up for about £6, I think it was, on eBay, delivered, and I figured, I haven't gone back to this in so long. I bet now, as a man in sort of like hitting middle age, I will understand it more and possibly even enjoy it more. And wow, did I enjoy this one. So this one, again, for anyone that hasn't seen it, I'll quickly catch up on what's going on with the storyline. This is based on a true story from 1993. I think this was set and possibly made a little bit way after that, obviously. But yeah, set on a 1993 true story about this, this person who basically is a female but dresses as a male, and basically fools a lot of people into thinking that they are male. They don't really say that they are as such. They just dress in such a way and have a haircut in such a way that people naturally assume that they are male. They choose a different name in terms of a male name. Now that is for the 90s. I think, I mean, much today, much more these films are much more readily available and kind of out there and watched by a lot of people. But I think back then this was probably very early for its time in terms of its subject matter. Now, I would say that subject matter for me personally doesn't really do a lot to spark a lot of interest for me. However, this film is shot in such a way and acted in such a way that it doesn't matter what the subject matter is. This was just a fantastic watch. It's such a good true story. It's like a coming-of-age tale about someone going through that process, basically. Hilary Swank plays this character who is dressing like a guy, but the hometown basically don't approve. A few of the people around them really don't approve, like back then, sadly, and probably today, I'd imagine still. So they essentially, she goes through a rough time, he goes through a rough time. I don't know what the right way to say that is. But she ends up going, leaving town, basically. She gets out of town. She's in a bit too much bother, a bit too much grief. Goes away, explores, and she meets this group of guys and girls who basically are in this club, and they end up in a bit of a bar fight, and they they run away and start becoming friends, sort of thing. Gets involved with this group of people who then basically hang out with them all the time, have no idea that she's naturally a girl or born a girl, and accept him as accept her as the boy that she wants to be seen as. Obviously, as time goes on, as you can kind of predict, that may or may not stay a secret for long, and then their reaction to it is very interesting and very compelling, very dramatic. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, if you forget the subject matter itself, if you just like a really good drama thriller, this definitely worth checking out. Highly recommend. Boys Don't Cry. And then a completely different flavour to any of those two is a teen comedy from the early 2000s, which is a soft spot for me, as if you've watched the channel long enough, you'll know. One I'd never heard of. I just sort of stumbled across it on a list somewhere, checked it out. I found it on, I think it was on Rare Waves for about £8, I think, delivered, something like that. It's no, it's not even a US import. It's like maybe a Netherlands or something. Netherlands import, I think. And that is number 1, Cheerleader Camp. I watched this. This is everything that people nowadays would absolutely scream and shout about online and like have taken down immediately if it got put up on a streaming service, I'd imagine. Which means I loved it. So yeah, everything wrong about what people will say is wrong about comedies of the past, especially this type of comedy. So this is basically, it's not a big budget film by any means. It's a very low budget film, but it's not so low budget that you kind of like are struggling to get through it. It's got a good enough budget set about this guy who goes to this cheerleader camp to basically work as part of the maintenance team with this other guy. And they're the typical early 2000s teen-ish slackers that are kind of like going around doing all the things they shouldn't. You know, if you can think of things like Porky's back in the day, it's kind of like a very, very more modern version of that type of humour and situation in a lot of circumstances. They're following this camp of the cheerleader camp who are trying to basically get better at being a cheerleader camp. They do these competitions. If anyone's seen that film, what was it, Bring It On or something like that from early 2000s, I think Kirsten Dunst is playing, where they're like their rival cheerleaders basically are getting this competition, and they're trying to, like, you know, who's the best cheerleader team. It's sort of like that, but again, bear in mind, on a very, much lower budget. It's shot well enough for what it is. Some of the scenes in here are really good. But yeah, the comedy in this, you're gonna have to like all this like rude, naughty teen comedy, kind of like innuendos and full blown, just kind of like saying it on the screen. If you don't like that, this definitely won't be for you. If you're sort of much more kind of like politically correct, then yeah, 100% not for you. If you're not, though, this could be worth a look. We'll do the whole CEX stack that I picked up, and then the ones that you haven't seen yet, and then we'll do the imports at the end as well, just to finish the video off. So, a bunch of stuff that I basically, like I say, when I was off on holiday for that week, I basically took a load of stuff into CEX, traded it in, got a voucher, and picked up this stack of movies. So, the first one On the pile here, is a Ryan Gosling movie that I'd never seen before. I'd say I'm pretty much a fan of Ryan Gosling. I haven't seen much that I haven't liked him in. I hadn't seen it. I knew roughly what it was about, and that's a movie called The Believer. So The Believer, yeah, it's £5. This one, I watched this one. It was fine. It was okay. I'll be honest, it's probably not one I'm going to go back to. It's quite a heavy subject matter. So yeah, he basically plays a sort of skinhead, as you can imagine, that is I don't know what the right term is, but basically he doesn't like Jews. It doesn't involve Jewish kind of like beliefs and the community, and he's very much part of this sort of like skinhead culture, and they're very much against all the Jewish people. He, mild spoiler to say, but it does reveal this pretty soon in the movie, he is Jewish himself. He doesn't necessarily let on that he is, so there's a bit of a weird kind of like undertone going on there with the whole reasoning why he's doing what he's doing. It was fine. I give this 3 out of 5. It's a better made movie than 3 out of 5, and it's probably a better subject matter movie if you're interested more in that subject matter. For me, it just didn't tick a lot of the other boxes that I enjoy about films, so it was fine. I'd recommend it if you like that type of film, but for me personally, it's probably not one I would go back to. Now, next one, what we got here? I'll do that one last because I'm going to get some hate for that last one, I think. So this one here, I picked up. One I'd seen was coming out. I saw the trailer, which I don't normally see, and there was a scene in here which made me think, oh, that looks really good. I'm going to check that out, and I completely missed it. And then I spotted on the shelf for £5. That is The Amateur. So the scene that I saw on the trailer, I think, was a swimming pool basically exploding and this guy falling from the sky because it was above these two buildings. And I thought, wow, that looks amazing. I've never seen that before. So yeah, I picked that one up. This one's obviously got Rami Malek, I don't know. Lawrence Fishburne in there as well, obviously from Matrix. And yeah, this one, it was fine. It was good. It was a reasonable film. I hadn't heard much about this one, so I was kind of like going in thinking this wasn't going to be very good. It was good enough, I would say, that one. Yeah, so again, quick summary of what it's about if anyone hasn't seen this one who's on the fence. This guy, basically Rami Malek, his character is basically, he works on, I think it's like data analysing or something like that for the sort of, I don't know whether it's a secret agency or the government or whatever it is, but he's analysing different things like voices, video footage, CCTV footage and things like that. His wife is travelling to, I think she goes to London or to the UK. This is all set in America. And basically there is a situation unfolds, I think it's in London or whether she was travelling somewhere else, but wherever she was, there was a situation unfold where these kind of like, for want of a better term, terrorist-style characters decide to take over the buildings that she happens to be in. And she gets taken, basically. So... It's not really a spoiler. This is kind of the whole point of the movie starting up. So she gets taken and something happens to her which then makes him want to discover everything he can, obviously as a husband, as to like how and why, and track down all the people that did this thing and seek vengeance basically on them. So it's a revenge movie. It's a bit like a Taken movie, but just with less kind of action fighting, I would say. So it's more kind of like mental strategy and things that are set back, like a bigger plan in place and things going off like from a distance that are trapping people or catching people out. It was good enough. It's not going to blow anyone away, I don't think, but there's a few scenes in there that looked really good. The swimming pool seems really good. I thought his character was pretty good. Like, I quite like the underdog story of him, just kind of like he's not trained as an agent in the sort of field, so they kind of like they give him a basic training from Lawrence Fishburne's character because he kind of blackmails them to do so, and then he's off on his own and they're also after him. He's trying to avoid them, but he's also trying to catch the people that have done the bad things to his wife. Yeah, so I enjoyed it enough. I thought it will be one I go back to now and again, but yeah, pretty good. So another one I picked up was a Jackie Chan movie I've never seen or heard of, and I picked up one because it was £2.50 and two because it had an 18 certificate, and I thought this might have some good kind of like action or sort of fight scenes in it, hopefully. And that was a movie called, I'm going to butcher this one, so this is Shinjuku Incident, I think that's called. So yeah, £2.50. This was fine. Like this one here again, I'd never seen or like I say heard of it. It's quite a political film in some ways. So like Jackie Chan plays a guy who has literally washed up on the shores of, I've got to get this right, Japan, I think. Now he's done that like illegally, so he's like an illegal immigrant with a whole bunch of other people, and they're all scattering like anything. This is how the film opens up. So yeah, he like runs to try and find shelter, try and get away from people that are like guards that are coming down to the beach to try and stop these people just crashing on the shores. He then goes off into the community and tries to find like survive basically in this sort of like foreign land to him. So he's come over from China, I think it is. So he's been based in China. Now there is a reason he's gone over there. He's gone looking for his fiance or wife, fiance, I think it is. Not technically wife. This girl that he really likes and like hopes to marry, I believe. So he's gone over looking for her because she's disappeared. Essentially, she went over there and never came back. So he decides to go over to try and find her. It then gets quite political. It goes into this like whole thing about the Yakuza, I think it is, over in Japan, who are like the mobsters over there, obviously, and the gangsters that are kind of coming after him. He kind of like doesn't understand the culture of that. And when he sees certain things happening to people on the streets and that by the Yakuza, he does start to stick up for some of them. It's not the full-blown kung fu kind of like martial arts action movie you might be expecting like I Half was. It's more of a drama thriller that happens to have Jackie Chan in it. In fact, I don't even know if he does really any martial arts, to be fair. Not like how you would imagine Jackie Chan. But it was still interesting enough. Like the story was pretty interesting. He ends up sticking up for these like group of other immigrants basically that have come over there and they've found shelter and they're like pretty much squatting in this building. But it's a battle for him trying to find this woman that he likes. She's involved in something that he's going to find tricky to get her out of. Yeah, good enough, enjoyable enough, more serious and more kind of like thriller drama based than what I was kind of expecting, but still good. So next one, okay, so this one was on the thumbnail probably, if I pick this thumbnail. So this one, I'm just going to get the receipt out, 'cause it's poking out the top. This one, I bought this based on, I think, many people's opinions and videos out there in the community, but I think Marcus was the one, Xfile 2708, so I'll link him down below, obviously. A really good friend of mine, he did a video based on this, or messaged me, or both, I can't remember, either way. And I think, no, it was in his video, I think, and it pushed me over the edge and said, right, that is it, I'm getting this movie. I think he said he made him cry, or almost made him cry, and as if anyone knows Marcus, he's a hard man to make cry, so I thought I need to see what this is. Obviously this is F1 with Brad Pitt. So yeah, I think most people that I've ever heard speak about this one, there was a lot of people's film of the year or in their lists of films of the year last year. I just hadn't got to it. But yeah, I thought, right, that is it. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. Marcus's opinion on this one. I thought, right, I'm going in, I'm finding it. So I found it on a near CEX to me, and next time I went past it, picked it up. Really enjoyed it, yeah. I think I'd give this 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's an underdog story, obviously, for the few people that probably haven't seen this one now. Underdog story. I have no interest in Formula One or sports or anything to do with like competing, basically competing. Can't even say it, let alone do it. So yeah, basically this one is an underdog story about Brad Pitt, who was a younger driver back in the day who, for other, I won't go into too much detail, but he was a younger driver. He didn't quite make it to the F1's kind of like races that he dreamed of. He then gets a bit of a second chance later on in life to join this sort of team who's like an underdog team in the F1 circuit. His experience, advice, and willingness to sort of bend some rules, shall we say, basically mean that they stand a better chance at qualifying for the F1 than they did without him, basically. But yeah, like I say, I think many people have said this. You don't have to be interested in F1. You don't have to be interested in sport. If anything, it probably makes it better, because I'm sure they do stuff in here from what I've heard that doesn't make any sense or breaks rules of F1, or it would never happen, or whatever. I don't know, and I don't care. This one, for me, ticked enough boxes. The filming or the action scenes in the driving were really good, but mainly it's the storyline. So the driving isn't massive. It's sort of a massive part, but it's not a massive part of the footage you get shown. It's more to do with his character and how he is like dealing with his life at the moment as an older driver joining this team, and his like past life experience and everything like that. Yeah, you'll know, I think, from the first 5 minutes of watching this, like when you see him in his camper van waking up, like you've got an idea of what kind of tone this movie's going for. So yeah, really enjoyed this. High recommend, as everyone has been doing, if anyone hasn't seen it as yet. let's have a look. So I've got a few more titles here. So if you watch the videos from my channel quite regular, again, you'll probably notice, I think one of the videos I did, I saw a film called Iris with Jodie Dench and Kate Winslet. I really enjoyed that film. And I was looking on the IMDb, and I think I found something done by the same director at a similar time with Jodie Dench, and that was a movie called Notes on a Scandal. So I'd never seen this one. I picked it up purely on in my enjoyment of the Iris movie that I watched that had, I'm sure it's the same director, feel free to correct me down below if I'm wrong, and Jodie Dench. And it had a better IMDb score than I think Iris did. But personally, I preferred Iris to this one, but I still appreciate this is a really good film. Now, Bill Nye's on here as well, obviously, down the bottom of the cover there. This one I think was £6 in CX or £8 in CX, something like that. It was like there was only a few left in CX, so I thought I had to basically pull the trigger and buy this one. Bit of Blu-ray bingo for you there, pull the trigger. Pull the trigger and buy this one online and just basically suck up the £3 postage, because if you're buying it, I think on eBay or anywhere else secondhand, it was going for stupid money, and we're talking like £20-30 for some reason, so it must be an out-of-print title. So yeah, don't do that. Wait for CX, get it back in stock, and just pay that if you're interested in picking this one up. So yeah, this one, really good. Now, this is one of the ones I watched quite early in the month, so my memory's fading more on this one than the most of them, but from what I can remember, this one follows a set in Britain, so it's a British film, and this one is where a younger school teacher comes in. Whoop, just flashed the next one. This is where a school teacher comes in, a young school teacher, Kate Blanchett, I think her name is. She comes into this school where Jodie Dench is working as like a bit of an old battle axe type teacher character in there. You know, no one really messes with her. And yeah, she joins this school, and all the teachers are like basically flocking to her, basically thinking like she's the new next best thing. She's quite young, naive, and stuff like that to this school. And all these teachers are like the male teachers are basically trying to like befriend her because she's the newest thing around. The female teachers are trying to befriend her because they want her in their little cliques. And Jodie Dench is kind of like patiently sitting there waiting in the background, just watching everything unfold. There is a big part of this storyline, in fact the main part of the storyline, is quite a controversial one. So I'll tell you some of it. I won't tell you the whole thing because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's on the back of the case, but there's a situation where this new younger teacher, she's married to Bill Nye's character. She has children of her own. She has a daughter, and she has I think it's a son with learning difficulties or Down syndrome or something. She has a disabled son anyway. And one of the students starts taking a liking to her, and she gets more involved than she should. Let's say that. That's all I'll say. Which then leads to a lot of what happens in the film. I thought it was really good. Drama, thriller. Controversial, like I say, subject matter obviously in there, but yeah, really enjoyed it. I will go back to this one a few times. If you just like drama, twisty British dramas, thrillers, check this one out. I've got 3 more CEXs. This is going to be a long video, I do apologise, but I picked up a lot of stuff this month and I didn't really intend to. It's just because I had that week off. Okay, so another name to butcher for me here. So this is Denise Villeneuve, something like that. Polytechnique, I think. Again, another one I might be butchering. French movie. Now, again, this was £5. It's on the BFI label. Knew nothing about it. It was a complete impulse buy. I didn't even know it was directed by a director that I actually have enjoyed other films. I'll get into that later. I just saw the cover. I read it that it was about a school shooting. I think it was a school or college shooting, however you want to say it. I think in France, a real story back in the 80s, I think it was, which was before my time. I'm pleading ignorant here. I didn't understand or know about this one, or if I did, I'd forgotten. So yeah, I mean, I would have been about 4 when this happened, so it's not something that was in my kind of like, on the news when I was watching the news back at 4 years old. But yeah, I didn't understand, I didn't realise about this true story, I don't believe. I know obviously about the modern ones, the Columbine and stuff like that. But this one it didn't have a lot going for it, I'll be honest, in terms of like, it was French, so it's subtitled. Now, I don't mind French or foreign language movies at all. It's just an extra thing to do, obviously, is to read the subtitles, which again I don't mind. In fact, I think if a movie's good enough, I genuinely don't remember whether it's subtitled or not. When someone says to me, have you seen this movie? And I'll be like, yeah, and they say, obviously you don't mind reading the subtitles. I'll be like, couldn't even remember it had subtitles, to be fair. I just get so engrossed in the story, it kind of goes from my mind. So not really a negative thing, but some people might find that's a negative. It's shot in black and white, which again, like younger me would have probably turned their nose up a little bit at just watching a black and white movie. So yeah, foreign language, black and white, set back in the 80s. So we didn't have that much going for it for a younger version of me. But obviously now I'm older, I didn't really mind any of those things, and I just figured for the subject matter, I wanted to check it out. Now, from the opening scene, I was hooked. So there's a scene in this, and again, I won't spoil anything, but the way the opening scene opened up, it literally made me almost spill my drink. Like, I nearly dropped my drink and nearly shook me to that bad. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Obviously, the subject matter is horrendous, and to witness it filmed, the way it's filmed, it was an experience. It really was an experience. So obviously not a film you can put on every day, but definitely a film that I think is very powerful and should be seen by a lot of people. Yeah, like I say, I don't want to spoil too much. You know enough probably to know whether you're interested in that by now. School shooting based or a college shooting based movie, shot in black and white. Don't let that put you off. Really impactful. It probably helps, if anything, because it kind of makes the film seem a bit timeless in terms of you're not really looking at all the 80s colours and things for the colour fashions and things that were going on in the school or the posters on the wall or anything. You're just looking at the black and white and the actual what's happening. Yeah, really impactful. £5, obviously, absolute bargain for that film. Again, keep going from like really dark stuff to really light stuff. This is how I kind of bounce through movies, I think. So this next one, again, I picked up based on two things really: the price and the 18 certificate. Three things, I guess, and what I assumed with the sort of subject matter was probably loosely based around. This is a movie which I assumed was just a what you'd class as a chick flick, and I probably would have avoided it back in 2012, I think, when it came out, or 13, somewhere around there. But that is a movie called For a Good Time Cool... ... Yeah, so £2.50, and I just thought... I read a little bit on the synopsis about what it was, and from the cover there, I kind of half guessed roughly what it was about. But these two women decide to set up basically a sex line, basically to earn money, right? So dirty phone calls. But it's set as you can tell by the cover, it's kind of set as a very light-hearted comedy take. It's not a very serious take. It's like, bit of a kind of teen comedy vibe going on with the cover, as far as I could tell. But the 18 certificate made me think, what could they possibly be doing or saying that warrants an 18 certificate? And my God, I don't think there's really any nudity in this film at all. So it's nothing to do with nudity. It is basically the language they use. So definitely not one that you want to watch with your parents, your young children, or maybe anyone. I mean, I was watching this and I was glad I had headphones on, because I wouldn't want my people down the street outside to catch a glimpse of some of the stuff they were saying in this film. Now, there are people in the community that I know will enjoy this one. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to, don't want to put them in that situation on this one, but I'm sure they can tell. I might message them later afterwards, but if you haven't seen it, the stuff they say in this, horrendously funny if you're not overly offended by very crude humour, I would say. But yeah, basically the storyline is kind of already laid out. It's not a hard storyline to follow. These two girls, this one's got an apartment, a really nice apartment that she wants to keep, but she can't afford to pay the rent. So she has to get basically a roommate to help pay the rent. Now, there's lots of cameos in this. You've got Justin Long, who's more of an actual character in this. He's like their very campy mutual friend who pairs them up to say, well, why don't you two move in together, because she needs a place to stay, you need someone to pay the rent. They then realise they've previously met at a party and they did not get on, but they're in a tight situation. They're both desperate for somewhere to live and to stay basically with this apartment, so they agree begrudgingly to move in with a bit of Justin Long's help to convince them to just play nice and get along. This girl has basically been making her money as a call girl, I suppose you can call them, in terms of like phone calls. just on the phone there. So yeah, she's been just ringing people and doing like dirty phone calls to guys and earning money that way. When it comes about that she's been doing it to this character here, she asks a few questions about it and says, why are you doing it for a company, essentially, which is what she's doing at the start, when they're taking most of the profits? You should definitely just do it on your own. And so basically she's got a bit more kind of like smarts behind her, let's say, a bit more business entrepreneurial skills. She's very more shy and timid than this very outgoing character, very bold character. So they're sort of like chalk and cheese, but she then helps her build this sort of like her own business doing it. And my word, the like I say, the comedy in this, if you're a certain way inclined, it really tickled me. I was laughing my head off at some of the stuff they were saying here. It's shocking, but really funny. Really, really funny. Yeah, so go in. Don't go in if you're highly offended or easily offended by anything, because this will offend most people, I'm sure. Or definitely make their eyebrows raise, that's for definite, for the things they say. Yeah, I recommend to some on this one. Okay, so the last one from CEX I picked up here was a movie that I'd only really heard negative things about. I think when I looked on Letterboxd after I'd watched it and reviewed it, that I think my friend Ollie over at Ollie Loves Films had basically enjoyed this one from what I could tell, but I think most other people I'd either heard or seen basically bin this one off. And this is a movie that I missed back in 2025 and wanted to watch. I'd avoided it based on most people's negative opinions, to be very honest, but I thought I want to check it out, just see for myself. That is Wolfman. So, yeah, £4, right? So that also gives me an indication sometimes that the CEX have got too much stock. No one's liking this movie. They've chopped it all in and they need to jack the price down to get rid of it. So it was another bit of a red flag. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this film. It got a lot of hate. All I heard was hate when this came out. Like I say, apart from a few. But I really enjoyed it. I dropped this one down on the... I pulled my old projector screen downstairs. Really good. I enjoyed this one. Now, this one was obviously, it's got a modern telling of the Wolfman story, or a werewolf story. I really enjoyed the family dynamic. Like, I can relate to that dynamic. There was like a family of three. They're basically going back to this guy's house. I think as his dad passed away, I think, and he's got this old house that he grew up in the sort of woods and the forest, which was a really creepy environment, just like misty like woods and forests. And it starts off when he's a young boy and he's hunting with his dad. Yeah, and he basically ends up going back there once his dad has passed and brings his family back there. And they get a little lost on the way there, and they meet this guy who he used to know when he lived there. He sort of takes a while to remember him, but he does sort of remember him. And then something happens, they get in a bit of trouble, and they have to get back to the house. So they end up getting back to the house, and obviously you can predict there's something in the woods. I really enjoyed it. I liked the atmosphere in this. I liked the way the film was set up. I liked what happened. It's a very slow burn werewolf movie in terms of like, there's not just like a werewolf every 3 minutes popping up on the screen. It's just literally used now and again, or you see it in the back of the camera angle. So like at the back of the screen, there'll just be like a quick kind of like movement, out of focus movement of something moving. I really enjoyed it. I think I give this 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. I will watch this many times again. Yeah, really enjoyed Wolfman. Okay, so that was all the CEX pickups. So the last lot to go through are my imports from... where were these from? Umbrella. So it's an Australian company, Umbrella. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 titles in total. So the first one that came through that I ordered is one I'd never seen before. Now you can get this in the UK in fairness, but I think it's one of the ones that I see in CX, and it's always like £30 or something, or upwards for the Blu-ray. Highly out of print, but this is the 4K and Blu-ray combo of a movie called Hardware. So yeah, I know my mate Andy from Forgotten Waters Movies, I think, has seen this one just after I placed my order, and he was saying, like, I completely agree with his opinion on this one. So he was saying essentially has no idea what's going on with that movie, but he liked the hell out of it, and that pretty much sums up my my version of that film. I think it sort of takes, again, this is one I watched quite early in the month because it came sort of back end of January after I'd done the haul video, or start February. But basically this one, if you like, it takes elements from Predator, from Halloween, from Mad Max, and kind of puts them all in a blender and gives you this. I think this is what I put in my Letterboxd review. If you told AI to make a movie out of those 3 movies, this is probably what AI would make. So yeah, enjoy that one if you go and check it out. Now, this is one that I know my good friend Tim Cole is going to have on DVD based on his collection that he's got. And this is one that I was really interested in. I hadn't seen yet on DVD, but I wanted to watch it on Blu-ray. And I don't think there's as yet a UK Blu-ray of it. And that is a movie called The Isle. I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one, I think, 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. This is an umbrella release, so obviously, like I say, all of these are. So you won't find this on the shelf in the UK. They're all Region B, by the way, just in case anyone's thinking about making an order with them. This is a weird little film, but weird in such an interesting way for me. So this lady on the cover here, she is essentially a non-speaking character. She doesn't say a word. And she runs this little business where they've got these little huts, basically you can see one on the back there, that are floating on rafts in this sort of like lake area. It might be a river area, but it's like a really quiet part of this lake. And there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 these things scattered around on this little lake, as her business is basically taking people over to these places to stay. I mean, there's a lot of what's the word to say? So there's a lot of men that take ladies out there, shall we say, if you read between the lines there. Or there's just fellas that go out fish and stuff like that and do their fishing out there and just chill out. And this woman on the cover is essentially gets her little kind of power boat, or little kind of like rowboat, and just takes them out to these little huts on the water, drops them off. They literally hang out there. It's so bare bones. It's just like a little beach hut for us here in the UK, on a raft basically. They hang out there for a bit of a time. She comes back after they've paid for whatever, how many hours or days they want to stay, takes them back to the shore, and that's her business. Now she meets this guy who basically comes over to this business, gets paid to stay in one of these huts, and he is essentially on the run. So he is wanted for something. She doesn't know this, obviously. She just takes him out and puts him on this thing as he wants to do so. There's other characters in this that are doing all the other things I mentioned earlier on the other rafts as well. And it just follows all these different characters going to and from these little raft beach hut type things. I apologise if there's a proper name for those in this country and I'm being really ignorant here, but to me they're just little beach huts on rafts. Yeah, and there is some... Now I think this is part of probably the Extreme, was it the collection that Tim has, which is all about Asian Extreme. So obviously there's going to be some stuff in here that is classed as extreme, and yes, sure enough there is. There's bits in here that will make in my face pulled faces that hasn't pulled in a long time when you watch what goes on. They're not all the time, which makes it work even better. I think it wasn't overkill. There's just a few scenes involving fishing hooks, I would say, as well. If you know, you know. Yeah, really weird, really bizarre. This woman basically starts like hanging out, keeping an eye on this guy. I don't want to give too much away, but I want to tell you enough as well. She starts taking an interest in this guy who's like just trying to hide out on the run, basically, and more of an interest than she does in most of the other people, let's say. But she's not quite all she seems either. So yeah, really interesting film. Good little quiet horror movie. There's not a lot of dialogue in here, but yeah, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend this one if you're into like Asian horror movies, basically. Now this one here basically gets one of the highest ratings on IMDb for any of the films I picked up here, and this is a movie I'd never heard of before. I purely bought it based on the very short synopsis on the website, and the IMDb rating being so high. That is a movie called Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring. So what intrigued me about this one, in my head when I read the synopsis, it basically said, I think something along the lines of this, I think it's a Buddhist monk type character, the guy on the boat there, the adult on the boat. He lives on this kind of weird like barge thing, sort of a bit similar to the Isle, I suppose, but he's on this like weird barge thing, or floating house. I don't know what the right terminology is for these things. He's got like this really tranquil floating house on the middle of this lake, and he just like, you know, he's practiced his Buddhism on there. He keeps himself to himself pretty much, but he also has this very young boy who lives there and he's looking after him. Now this is it's a really good film. It's shot really well. And now what I would say is it does have what you would class as probably animal cruelty in this, like real animal cruelty. Now it's not Cannibal Holocaust type animal cruelty. It's more with fish and frogs. What else was it? Snakes as well. So yeah, I'll skirt around that just to not spoil it for other people as well. So yeah, but that's not it's a big-ish part of the film, but it's not done for fun, if that makes sense. It's part of the film, part of the storyline. Or this Buddhist, sorry, looks after this young lad. He's trying to teach him the ways of life. He's trying to teach him how to be good, how to be a nice person, how to be a responsible person. I'm not even sure if he speaks very much, to be honest. There's so little dialogue in here. It's all visual. It shows you everything visually, which is really good. But the setting was just amazing. The title obviously reflects that it comes back to the different seasons of the year, where you notice all the weather's changed, so the leaves have turned amber in the winter and the fall sort of thing, and there's ice and snow around in the winter, and then spring and summer has all the birds out chirping and everything like that. But it's essentially following this guy trying to bring up this little young lad the right way. Another lady comes and brings what she classes as a troubled daughter, like teenage daughter, when this boy's grown up into a teenage year as well, for this Buddhist to basically look after and to, I won't say correct, but basically that seems to be what they're trying to do. They're trying to put this kid and this now other kid on this place with him to try and be better people, to try and teach them like really good, honest, genuine ways and learn from life. So yeah, they put these two teenagers on this very small floating house with this guy. And as you can expect, one thing sort of leads to another with these two teenagers after a short time, when they go off exploring in the sort of local area. And then it keeps skipping in time. So like you get like another segment a bit, maybe a year or two later or a few years later, and you watch this kid grow up, all the way to adulthood, all the way to like when something happens later in his life and he comes back to this place after he's left it. But I don't, like I say, that's kind of all I want to. That's all I want to share on that. I think for now, I really enjoyed it. It's very visually stunning to look at. Yeah, I think Roy, you'd probably enjoy this one quite a lot. Probably Stuart maybe enjoy this one as well. I think, mate, Stuart George's Home Movies. Probably Sammy and Ollie as well. You know, the regular crew. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Never heard of it before. It's an experience more than it is anything else, I would say. So another one, these are going to be quicker to go through because this one was one never heard of, called Suburban Mayhem. Really nice slip blocks on this. It looks sealed still, but I did just pop it out the top. So these editions basically are really nice. I've done the top there so you can get it out basically. But they're boxed, so there's not like a hole in the bottom of the box. The slip, it's not like a slip cover. It's like an actual. It's got a base to it. If that makes sense. So it's like a little box. I haven't had that before. So yeah, the certificate is on. I think it's on the box permanently on this one, but you can flip the artwork, so it doesn't have it on the inside of the artwork. So this one, yeah, it was fine. It was okay. It didn't quite do enough for what I wanted it to do. It was, I think I'd give it like bang average 2.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. It just follows this girl who is a bit of a troublemaker, I suppose you'd call her. She's got a troubled family. It's a bit of chaos and mayhem, as you'd imagine on there from the title. Yeah, it just didn't hit me hard enough in any particular way. So I think for that reason, I just kind of like was like, it's fine. It passed an hour and a half or whatever it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Yeah, I don't know. I just hadn't heard of it before. It sounded interesting and it was just fine. Very similar with this one. Now, other people may be more familiar with this one based on the cast, but I was not. But I bought it mostly based on the cast alone. So let me just check who I'm about to tell you. So you've got Susan Sarandon in here, you've got Emily Blunt, and you've got Sam Neill. So I like all 3 of those people, and that is a movie called Irresistible. Again, I have opened this one up. It's just open at the top there. Again, one of those slip boxes type thing where the base is sealed in. This one was like I thought it was going to be like a romantic thriller type thing, which it kind of was, but it kind of also didn't really do a lot in terms of any of that for me. Yeah, so I don't know, these ones here. So this is the cover without the sorry, this is the movie without the case on. Case comes separate. Really nice editions, don't get me wrong, but and again, I think you can flip the cover up most of the time on these ones. Yeah, if you want to, so it doesn't have it on the other side. It's fine. It was fine, but it was just very middle of the road for me. It just didn't really hit me hard enough. Now, It was definitely, I think, better than Suburban Mayhem, but it just, I'm not sure if I'd ever go back to it. So it's basically this girl, Sam Neill's character, he's married to Susan Sarandon's character, and Susan Sarandon basically is starting to get a bit paranoid that he's having an affair with Emily Blunt's character. And it's that's kind of the story. That's her getting paranoid, and they've got kids and stuff. He's then, I think he's a professor, and is she a student? I think it's harder to remember. These ones that don't stick with you, they're harder to remember, I'm sure. But yeah, basically, that's the main crux of the film. There, you've got this three-way sort of triangle with aren't they having an affair? Susan Sarandon going mad, or is she not going mad? It probably sounds better than it is from that, to be fair. It was fine. There's going to be fans of this movie out there somewhere, so let me know down below if you enjoyed this movie and why. But yeah, it was fine. Okay, so another one here that I'm pretty sure Sammy G is a fan of this one. This is one I watched back in the day on DVD. Again, it's got Ryan Gosling in it, so this is, I don't think I knew I knew of Ryan Gosling when I watched this movie. He was just a guy in a film at this time. But I do remember the film, and I haven't seen it in the longest time. So this was a rewatch, but I do remember enjoying it back in the day, in my sort of early teen years. And that's a movie called Lars and the Real Girl. So yeah, I rewatched this one, obviously. Again, I opened it at the top there. Really enjoyed this one. I think this actually comes off, so I might take that off while you're here, because I'm going to keep this one for definite. This one is about Ryan Gosling's character, who plays this very quiet, keeps to himself guy who lives basically in a, for want of a better term, like a garage, essentially, on this house, on the side of the house that his brother owns, or technically he owns, but his brother's in there with his wife and partner, basically in there having kids. They're about to have kids. So yeah, this bit just comes off, so you can get rid of that if you want to, and you've got the nice little slip. Oh, this one is a slip. An actual slip rather than a slip box. Interesting. But yeah, really like the artwork on this one, so this was really nice. Really nice addition. Again, I don't think there's no UK Blu-ray for this. I think there's a DVD, obviously, but no Blu-ray. So wanted to pick it up, wanted to watch it in HD. Ryan Gosling plays this guy. He's really quiet, really awkward, really sort of like keeps himself to himself. Not really nice guy, but like just very quiet, very awkward, very socially uncomfortable around people, and he's basically getting sort of, the people are saying like, oh, you should find friends, you should find a girlfriend, that sort of stuff, and he's not really that interested. And then one day one of his colleagues at work sees that, or shows him this website where you can buy basically sex dolls. Like you can buy these really advanced like sex dolls, and he's like laughing about it with him, and he doesn't quite, he obviously looks at it and sort of has it in the back of his mind, but he doesn't react too much to it. It cuts to a few weeks later, and this massive box turns up outside the house, and sure enough, he's ordered himself a doll. But because of the way he is and the way he's inclined, nothing sexual about it whatsoever for him. He literally just he orders one as a partner for himself, like someone he can talk to, someone he can basically show the world that he has got friends, he can socialise, he can do things with people, it makes him happy. And when he treats her like a real person, essentially, this doll. And when he starts doing this in public and in front of his brother and sister, I mean, he believes she's real in terms of like in his mental state that he's currently reacting with and displaying in front of other people. And the people around him obviously think he's gone completely mad. But they also don't want to break they contact like a psychiatrist. And she basically says that he's doing this for a particular reason. And the best thing you can do is basically play along. So this whole little quiet community in town, some of them begrudgingly start playing along and believing that she's real, and they all treat her up, dress her up, they cut her hair, they sit her in church with everyone else, and it's just this doll. And he absolutely adores her, he absolutely loves her, but he's using her as like a coping mechanism. Really good story if you like those indie dramas. Sammy G again. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed going back to this one after all these years and seeing it in HD. Highly recommend if you like that type of movie. Now the big one that I ordered this for, the whole package from Australia was for this, basically. This is why I was making the order. Now again, if you watch the channel a lot, you will know that I picked up a bootleg of, because it wasn't available anywhere at the time, one of my favourite movies that I had on DVD back in the day and really enjoyed that no one spoke about, called Cashback. So they have now released a official copy in Australia in a nice deluxe edition of that movie. So obviously, first thing I wanted to do is replace my bootleg, which I was more than happy with. Like, the quality of that was brilliant, with a proper hard-boxed Blu-ray. Bingo for you there. Nice deluxe edition of... It's just a movie I love so much. I'm going to unbox it now because I've been kind of waiting to do it for the video. So yeah, really enjoy this movie. Again, I've recommended this to a few people. If you like your indie dramas, your kind of early 2000s movies, you're gonna pretty much enjoy this. British film again. So this guy essentially plays with time travel. Time travel, is that right? That's sort of right. Plays with the ability for this guy to pause time. He's going through a big breakup with his girlfriend, and it basically says he suffers with insomnia afterwards because he can't sleep. He's starting to have some regrets about the whole thing. He can't sleep. He's losing his mind a little bit, he feels like. He takes his job in Sainsbury's on the night shift in the supermarket here in the UK. And he realises that he can actually pause time. So when he pauses time, this is where the sci-fi element comes in a little bit. Everything around him obviously stops, and he can walk around these people and just chat and narrate and stuff. And it's such a really good... The transitions in this, like I've said before, just so nice. Such a little unknown film, really, but I absolutely love it. Really nice slip on this box here. So is that a box or is it a slip? No, it's a slip. So yeah, that's the artwork on there, back and front. That's the original artwork that was on the DVD pretty much. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. I will flip the artwork because I'm pretty sure, yep, that's going to have a nice non-age restricted piece on there. And we've got a poster inside there, I would imagine. So there we go, that's better now without the artwork on. Superb. I love the spot gloss they've done on this as well. So they've done some spot gloss on the title and the cans at the front there. Don't know if that's going to pick up. There you go, the title was picking up there on the light, and then you've got the cans picking up on the light there as well. Obviously on the box you've got all the cashback words they pick up on spot gloss. You can just see them there. Really nice all the way around. Yep, poster. So yep, new artwork on there. Got yourself a book. So essays and art, this one is. Quickly flick through. And then you've got your classic art cards and postcards. I don't always go for the special editions of this because it's more about the film for me 9 times out of 10, but this is such an impactful film for me and such a nostalgic film for me. I just thought I'm going to go. I think this worked out, what did this work out? Maybe like £25, something like that, £30 tops, I'm sure. So it's just like if I'd have bought a special edition off the shelf in the UK, to be honest. So I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's just go for the whole thing. But yeah, absolutely love this film. It's about a guy who's going for a breakup. He's having insomnia after the breakup. He can't sleep. He ends up deciding to take a job at Sainsbury's, like I say, on the night shift. He then meets all these interesting characters along the way, and yeah, it's just such a good film. If you've seen it, you know, and if you haven't seen it, I'd say check it out. If you like, again, indie dramas from the early 2000s, this is one of the best ones for me personally. Plans for the channel: I'm going to hopefully do a video maybe next week, week after, somewhere there, just talking about any highlights of the stuff I've watched over the last month of February. That has either been a rewatch, so it's not to do with the pickups I picked up, or it's been on streaming, or another way of watching movies. So I might do one of those again. We'll just literally sit down, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and yeah, go through all those. And then I've got some more collection videos on the way as well. I filmed some of them. I've got to still film a few more horror ones to go up later on. But yeah, that's what's coming up on the channel. So yeah, if that's still interesting for you, then feel free to stay along, and yeah, we'll see you then. Cheers. Thanks, guys.